I've always enjoyed the treasure hunt. I've been like the crazy one, and like, what are you buying this stuff for? Like, for example, like I have the highest graded copy of a sealed copy of 28 Days Later in the world.
Welcome back to the PokeRadar Podcast. This is now episode 5. Slight shift from full-on anime cell conversations and kind of going back to Pokemon world, but I think we'll talk. I'm going to lead the conversation with anime cells and other things because
we're still going to dive. We're still going to dive in.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of Pokemon will come up, but yeah, introducing my guest who also has a podcast, which I haven't been on yet, but we got Peeked At You. What's up, man?
What's going on, dude? I'm very excited to see a Radar podcast back. As I've told you, it's watching your anime cell passion and you kind of devolving into degen status around it because of how passionate you are. It's been very fun to watch, and yeah, like I told you a little bit pre-stream, like that spark and that passion is coming through, which I'm all about that. So yeah, thank you so much for having me on, dude. I'm really excited to talk with you.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's a very similar feeling to Pokemon in the early days of like first spending $1,000 on a base set box or whatever it was for a trophy card. And now I'm kind of risking it again with this stuff, which I like to show off one every episode. This is my favorite one, my most exciting one, so I figured I'd show it here. But this is my...
Oh, man, the Frieza Cooler return. I love it.
Yeah,
and see, that's another thing, too. It's not just general anime cells that you've really been hitting hard. It's Dragon Ball, which is like my favorite IP of all time, which is why I'm like... yeah, I love seeing you and Brandon and all that, too, talking about those.
It just feels like a no-brainer for me, because anime is taking over the world. It has been for a while, but it's truly, truly taking over the world. It's like half of Netflix users are all anime fans or watching anime in some fashion. And I love Dragon Ball Z. I mean, I started with Dragon Ball Z before Pokemon, so I just happened to go into Pokemon because it was there was more to it as far as like cards and everything. Dragon Ball Z being what it is, kind of the front runner of anime in the Western world. And also just like, it's my favorite show of all time. Absolutely. But there's not a lot of depth to characters and all that. So you can only do so much over and over and over again. So like I got all the cards and then I discovered this and yeah, it became a problem. So
yeah,
it's been fun for sure to learn about this whole thing. And I know you had Bro Namath on, who would be on before this.
I think you might have cut out on me.
But
I'm not sure
what has like kind of sparked your interest? I mean, I know you just said that that Dragon Ball Z is one of your favorite shows, but like, what sparked your interest as far as animation cells?
Bro Namath, without a doubt.
Just following on Instagram.
Yeah, so I was similar to you. I mean, I started with Dragon Ball back when I was a kid. Pokemon, I really only got into it because of the games and the cards. But whenever it came to Dragon Ball, it was all about the show. Like, I love the characters. I've seen everything Dragon Ball, all the way through Super. I've watched it all 13 movies back in the day, like everything. I was like racing home and, from school to watch it. Then I had like my mom, which this will really date me here for anybody who's younger who watches this, but like, they changed the time like 30 minutes to after or before I got out of school. So I had my mom like take VHS tapes and record them on our VCR. And I remember like I would lose it as a kid if she like forgot, because back then they would air the episode and you'd have to go through the entire season and it start over and then you get back to it. So I don't know if that marketing worked, because basically we had to be experts on Dragon Ball because it just kept replaying the same seasons over and over and over again. But
yeah, it would just like randomly catch whatever random episode was playing, or if I think they would replay that last episode at like 6 a.m. in the morning for me before school. So like if we did miss it, we could watch it in the morning, and I would wake up super early with my brothers and we would watch it.
See, this knowledge was not there for me.
Yeah.
I just was like, Mom, the meatloaf. Like, I was really mad. But anyway, how that kind of plays into it. So I got back into Pokemon around like 2017, 2018-ish. Was about probably two and a half, maybe 3 years in or something like that. And at the end of the day, and I'm sure you've run into this as well, is I won't necessarily call it burnout, but back then I had gotten a lot of the Grail cards that I wanted. Like my big thing was Japanese exclusive promos. So basically going in and saying like, why is there no listing of this on eBay? Okay, I've got to find it. And I successfully did that like with quite a bit of cards, and I was pretty happy with it. But then, back then I didn't really care about set cards. It wasn't really a concern for me. I didn't like the idea that you could just open a pack and pull something. I was like, that's kind of boring for me. Like I want stuff with a cool story behind it. So I was like, I'm going to take a little bit of a step back. What are some other IPs that I really like? And I'm going to go find cards for those. I was like, there's got to be cards for them. And you and I also have this in common because I found Zelda cards and then I found Dragon Ball Super.
Yeah.
So Dragon Ball Super cards were like, I went really, really deep and immediately just started looking at their World Championship trophy cards and their paper trophies and stuff like that. If anybody knows Bro Namath, this is the guy for that back then. Like he was all in. I mean, I think he black labeled like the entire World Championship run of cards from 2021. I mean, some of the things he achieved, I was like, what else could this guy do, with this card game or anything?
Yeah, he might have actually had like truly had the best Dragon Ball Super collection at one point in the world.
If not the best, second best. Like it was very rare. I think there was one guy who had the actual world champion card that they made like one of, but I think he might have done that at some point too. Who knows? But I used to always talk to him because I was like, dude, like this is insane. Like, how did you do this? Like, mainly just, and that's how a lot of the conversations go with people I follow on Instagram specifically, is just, dude, your collection is insane. Like, this is amazing. Like, because, some people, they see like really ultra rare cards if they're set cards and they're like, oh, of course it's this. But like, you see something really niche that like somebody's knowledgeable about, it's just a whole different ballgame. Like, you're like, I really appreciate this, like with how much you've got. Or I'll just ask questions like, how many were released? This is so cool. So following him for a while, and then I saw him, he might have been the very first person I saw that posted an anime cell that I've ever seen. And I messaged him. I was like, what is this? I was like, I didn't know what an anime cell was.
That's how I was too.
Used in the show. Yeah. And then, him and I just kept, we kind of developed a friendship around that. I was like, what are you doing? I was like, I mean, you basically beat cards, so it kind of makes sense you're doing this. But like, how did you find this stuff? And I did a podcast with him on my channel. I don't know, a few weeks ago, something like that. But that was the first time we actually got to verbally speak to each other about this stuff. But before then, I probably annoyed him with the amount of questions. I was like, what is this stuff, man? So that was the first time I saw it, and immediately my brain went to like, what scenes are out there? Like, I thought of all the scenes that I would want to get. Like, again, Goku becoming a Super Saiyan for the first time, which he was actually the one who informed me. It's in like some kind of, or it might be maybe not Funimation, but it's basically in one of those studios. Like they keep it like on the wall or something, or maybe basically it's not available to the public. But then he started posting. Yeah, right. Exactly. But he had like his first, the first appearance of Vegeta with the red hair, which a lot of people don't know. Like, they were still figuring out his colors then. And like, from a historical standpoint and really appreciating that show and that IP for what it is, this is really like the peak of that appreciation, in my opinion. Because, I mean, everything is really, truly a one of one. And he even gets a little bit deeper into getting like anime scripts and stuff like that, which I find very cool because I've looked at used movie scripts and stuff too.
There's all these pieces you can put together to make like a complete collection of a scene or a complete collection of an episode. There's so many like nuances within it already as far as the type of collectors. There's I collect pans. I collect the full body shot pans of characters, whether it's an important scene or not. I just like that shot of a character. I like having the full character. I just think it looks great. He likes the portraits, they're like just the headshot, really detailed headshot. And then obviously you go into like the kind of similar to like comic grading, the first appearance and the first, this moment, that moment, like that's super important as well. And then there's the Gengas and the Dugas and the Cels and all the other portions of everything, the layout. So there's so many different niches within it. And so far there's like, all the people I've been talking to have like their own specific taste in what they like. And it's really nice because we're kind of helping each other. Like if something pops up, oh, give it to this guy, let him take a crack at it.
Radar likes pans. Let's get this over to him. It reminds me a lot of when I was really buying a lot of like Pokemon like Worlds promos and things like that. Like you have this massive IP in Pokemon, but then you have this sub community of a sub community. It's like people who like promos, people who like Japanese promos, people who like championship promos. Like, and I feel like with anime Cels, it's such a fun thing, at least from the outside. I mean, I've, Brandon has sent me like a couple of things and I'm like, dude, I just like, I would love to drop like a few grand on something right now on this, but obviously Pokemon and the current time, I'm like, it's just, there's so much more I could be making off of this before I reward myself with a PC collection. But then what I also struggle with, and I think that this probably adds a little bit more to you buying as much as you are right now. I feel like by the time people realize like how important these pieces are, because I would truly compare them to like fine art. Yeah. But it's like our generation's version of that. It's like these amazing IPs, these amazing shows, actual episode used visual art. It's checking every box, at that point. Yeah. So I also struggle with like, if I'm going to buy, like I need to do this now because I do truly feel like this is going to be it's only going to take like a couple of big sales. I mean, there's already amazing sales right now, but it's going to take like one really, really awesome piece that's going to blow up. And then I think that we're off to the races at that point. Yeah.
And like, I'm like most of the deals are private. Like everything I bought basically was private other than one from Mandarake. And I talk about it a lot, very transparent. There's people that hate this. It's mostly the people who are it seems like it's very similar to Pokemon. And I don't mean any like, I'm empathetic towards it, but like, because there's so many different areas you can enjoy the hobby and buy things, but people are getting priced out already.
100%.
But I still feel like I'm early because like right now, like you said, I easily could have spent the money on Pokemon instead and made a lot more money and great, but I also saw this opportunity as a long play and also just understanding how the higher end side of this works, because that's what I do is more higher end stuff. Those pieces are not going to be available to grab later on.
No,
there is a plethora of things you can still get. Like if you want your favorite character, you can go get it, no problem. Mm-hmm. If you want all the characters from a certain series and spend a few $100 per, you can go get it. It's no problem at all. But yeah, like the chase and the discovery and the negotiating of trying to get some of these pieces that I've gotten has been the most fun. And it's absolutely absurd. Like I'm on that end now where I'm the ridiculous one buying this stuff. And I know you had Dubsy on your channel, and I've been friends with him for a while, and that was one of the things that he kind of preached was when you see an opportunity in collectible space, at least, and you go after the cream of the crop, you're going to be the crazy one. But if you truly believe in it and you're patient with it, like you're going to win. And that's kind of the approach I took with this was I'm just going to spend the money that I need to spend to get these out of these guys' hands and just hope that it works out. And if it doesn't, I have amazing art on my wall now that I absolutely love looking at.
That Kid Buu looks insane. Like that's such a. So one thing I love about like old Dragon Ball is like the 3D shading and everything they would do on the characters because they changed the anime style, which is still fine. But nothing beats that old school, like especially the movies. The movies always looked like infinitely better in my opinion. Yeah. But I agree with you. I think right now that's sort of where I fall into is because I could start making the leaps as well. To a certain extent, not the extent of you and Brandon, obviously, but it's my collectibles brain. Obviously, if you're in these markets long enough and you've seen kind of these cycles of things that have happened, I mean, how many of us have looked back like, man, I can't believe I bought and sold this 3 years ago or 4 years ago or 5 years ago. It's like, what was I thinking? It's like, well, at that time, you were going through it kind of for the first time. And not that I necessarily think that this is going to follow Pokemon exactly. I think Pokemon is its own Goliath of a beast, especially when it comes, I mean, they dominate the card market, and I think they'll forever dominate the card market. But pieces like this is where I think my experience in like a lot more niche collectibles really kind of plays into it, because we could not be more on the same page. I'm like, right now, the biggest thing that I love about anime sales is the supply is there.
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking about like there's certain characters, few $100 here, a few $100 there. It takes a handful of people to just whale these things in.
Yeah.
That's all it takes. And there's going to be somebody who does it. And it's actively, I guarantee you, happening now, where they're like, oh, I don't care. I just want all the Gohans, or I just want all the Boos, or I just want, all the Doctor's Roche, whatever. Because the cool thing about this particular space is if you're a fan of the IP, like you showed me the one earlier of King Colt and Frieza, right? Yeah. I know exactly what scene that is. I know exactly what happens before, during, after, like, because I'm that type of fan. So, like, you get somebody who goes, that is my favorite scene of all time in Dragon Ball, name your price. Because, like you said, with private deals, and I can't even imagine what the negotiation side of it is, because, like, it's like, what's the value at this point? It's basically like buying a card in PSA 10 that has no pop. Yeah. It's also a 1-of-1. Like, it's like, it's whatever that guy wants.
Yeah. And like, there are definitely like I don't know if you've seen the Spirit Bomb Goku that I have. If you've seen that.
Did you post it?
I've posted it. Yeah. So I've got a Goku. It's a Spirit Bomb against Boo. It's like the last Spirit Bomb. The cell that I have, I found a guy who has the exact same one. Like, I have the A4, he has the A1. So like, there are a lot of these that have very similar, not a lot, I should say. There's probably only a few of those, if they still exist, or if they got cut or whatever. Like the one that I showed before, the reason this is my favorite, this King Colt and Mecha Frieza, is like the setup is a true 1-of-1. It is I've got the Keymaster background, I've got the whole shot, like everything is there that exists from that shot, which is really hard to put together and find, because most of these are like, well, the Boo, that's the original background, but finding the original background in that scene is always a difficult thing to match up, because they might have used that background for multiple shots or multiple animations of that character. So the backgrounds are actually potentially the rare side of all of this
than the character.
Than the character. But yeah, so getting that whole setup is really interesting to me as that piece of art, because it all comes together. I mean, you can do printed backgrounds and make it look cool and display well. But having that full collection of it, the whole thing together, is really special. I just love it. I'm obsessed with it.
And one thing I love too is that, especially when it's like a display piece, it's a story piece. And I've always found stuff like, sometimes I'll go on Heritage just to look at like the most random things that they have on there. They'll have like, Catwoman's whip, Indiana Jones, like nail filer, like, whatever it may be. But like, if you buy these things and you display them, you're really, I mean, at least I would be hoping somebody would go, what's that? And I'm like, have a seat. Let me really break this down for you real quick.
Let me pour you a drink. Let's talk. No, it's really crazy. It's truly unbelievable what some people have and what they collect. And I just, the more and more I meet people that don't collect things, I just find them weirder and weirder. Like,
very much so.
I have these conversations with, my like teams at work, in the way that I always, my icebreaker is, what do you collect? And so many people are like, I don't know. So I always have to like turn the conversation into, oh, you collect experiences, you collect trips, you collect travel, you collect whatever. So, and then they start going, and then they'll open up, and, it's always a purse, or it's something else, right?
I got the Starbucks cups from like 17 states. I'm in the zone. Like, that's usually what I hear.
So it's just like the things that people have in that story is really what's super cool, because people come over, and my fiance will have people over, and they're just like, what is that? Like, they'll see stuff on the wall, and they're like, oh, my boyfriend would love this. So it's always a talking piece, and it's really interesting. I think it could kind of, I'm going on a complete tangent here, but it could completely like change the world of how like museums work. Because like Mopop in 100%. Seattle is doing a pop culture Japanese like pop up in their museum, and they have like cool. The original Kira manga and like a bunch of cool stuff. I haven't gone and seen it, but from the pictures I've seen, it's like people would probably pay more to go in my, look at my walls than go see what's that Mopop. So like there's got to be a shift in like private collections in a way to display and do the whole museum collaborations. I just, I feel like there's a big disconnect from what is really out there. And like, we seem like private collectors, but we're posting all this stuff all over Instagram. Like, we love to share it. So why aren't museums picking up on this stuff? It's...
I think it's made, I mean, it's such a niche thing. I mean, before Bro Native, I didn't even know these things existed. Mm-hmm. Like, I assumed that there were things that people used for the show to do the animation. Like, I'm not ignorant to that. But I never thought that you could just buy them. Like, it makes perfect sense when you think about it. You're like, well, yeah, of course you can. They're going to get out. But, like, you don't think, I mean, because I went through kind of a deep dive into, like, what's the most random thing I can collect? Like, what are the niches of the niches? Because I really went into, like, niches in Pokemon. I know you did as well, and those things paid off great. And not that everything has to be, like, the financial side, but, like, I've always enjoyed the treasure hunt. Like, I enjoy finding stuff and being like, it doesn't, I've been, similar to probably, I'm sure people tell you now, like, I've been like the crazy one and like, what are you buying this stuff for? Like, for example, like I find and hunt like incredibly rare sealed VHS tapes and I grade those. Like right now I have the highest graded copy of a sealed copy of 28 Days Later in the world. I have the highest graded copy
awesome.
of the Dawn of the Dead reprint from 2004. It's a screener promotion that's still sealed. I have the highest graded copy in the world. Like, those are kind of things that I enjoy doing because I love those movies. But people are like, what are you doing with VHSs? And like, I've graded video game soundtracks with WATA. Like, it's just random stuff like that I'm like, yeah, I mean, there's certain markets that are pretty saturated. Like, everybody's got a one-up. Like, there's a Bro Namath out there that's just like crushing everything in whatever niche you're in.
Right.
So I was like, what's some stuff that I can appreciate? But I think what it all comes back to is I like stuff that I can display. I like stuff that I can put on a shelf and actually like see the art, which funny enough, VHS art, there actually is some that looks pretty cool. And so when art sales came along or anime sales, and I started like paying attention to it, I was like, oh, like this makes perfect sense. Like, this is checking every collector box that I have. I'm like, it's super rare. You got to know people. There's no, I mean, you can go on Heritage and, spend 3 times the amount you can buy private if you want to, but like, the people in this community know, like, hey, do you have this, or has anybody seen this around? Like you said, I love that community aspect of being able to say, like, I know John really likes pans, or I know, anybody else likes this. Like, that is the most fun part of collecting to me, when you have all you need is like 3 or 4 passionate people, and like, you guys can just get in a message group and just like, oh, look what I found. Like, that's where that excitement comes from for me. And not that Pokemon doesn't have that, but like, I feel like we've seen every rare card ever released ever in PSA 10 and Black Label. Like, it's like, you kind of get a little desensitized after you've been in it for so long,
Yeah, absolutely. And before I want to segue into Pokemon for a little bit, but this is a perfect, like, I don't know if you've thought about it. I hope you have, but your favorite VHS tapes, go find that original art. Where is that? Go find that cell or something.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I haven't thought of that actually.
Like, where does that exist? I'm that would be cool. So you have your graded VHS, and then you have the actual original art that was done for that VHS cover. That'd be pretty sweet.
Good idea. Because what's funny with that, and you were talking about like the landscapes and like the backgrounds of some of the anime cells being really what people pay attention to. Mm-hmm. So in VHS, it's all about like what color are the watermarks, because the ink they used before 1990 was white and after that was blue. Mm-hmm. And then the MCA logo, which is like the universal logo or whatever, it was a globe after a certain amount of time. But the cool thing is, like, for example, I just bought a first print of Jaws that's sealed. It's the first one I've seen that's been like, not like an eBay, like, hey, look at my store because I've priced this so high. But the MCA symbol on the front is blood red. And that wasn't just for Jaws. It just kind of happened that way. And it's like the perfect combo of that scene. But, with that, it's like, finding first prints. There's like Rainbow MCA. Like, The Thing is one of my favorite movies of all time. Pete Kurt Russell. And I've owned a first print and sold it before, and I regret it, like, to this day. Yeah. Because I think that was like great, like highly graded, which mine probably wouldn't have gotten this high of a grade. I think it went for like 13 grand like a couple of years ago or something, like an insane amount of money.
Wow.
But yeah, anyway, all it is yes, I should probably find that and see if it's like movie memorabilia, I guess you could call it.
Yeah.
I've looked at like used movie scripts for those movies, but never the art. It's a good call. You've probably put me on a path now.
That would be interesting. I didn't think of it until that moment. So that would be really cool to see if it's out there, if people own that stuff. I know like the original art or like the original posters that come out for movies are obviously a super popular collectible. Always have been, always will probably. But yeah, whatever. There's one guy on Instagram that has an original artwork for like a cover of a Lion King book. And it's
interesting.
It's awesome. It looks great. He was trying to sell it recently. I thought about buying it, but I don't know what I would do with it. It
like
just
think
seems
of
like
the Goku scene I could get for that price.
Exact. That's where my head goes now. Is how many? Yeah. What if I miss out on the next thing that pops up? Because that's the exciting thing about this too. Is like I've spent like you can go on a deep dive on past auctions in Japan and people's collections on Rubber Slug and obviously wherever else on Instagram and see what's out there. Mm-hmm. But still to this day, things are popping up on Mandarake auctions or Yahoo Japan that no one knew existed or like were out there. Like they've just been, these things have been just deeply set into people's closets or collections forever. And now that the prices are coming out, it's finally pulling out some really cool stuff.
They're like, oh yeah, I have this. I forgot. And that's the hard thing is like, I'm almost afraid of myself to dive in. And I've had to do this like in the past with certain collectibles. Cause I'm like, when I think anime sells, I think like Yu Yu Hakusho, Dragon Ball, Cowboy Bebop. Like I start thinking of all these old school shows I grew up watching. Outlaw Star would be probably one of the first ones I go for. Cause it's like super, super niche, but like, I would end up going through and being like overwhelmed with like, what should I buy? Like there's just so many things that are available.
Yeah. I mean, I had to control myself and pull myself back a little bit and really just kind of like be disciplined and set a plan on what I wanted to buy. And that's what, I mean, thankfully I kind of stuck to it. It's also just, it's dreadful thinking about having to sell these things. Just it's completely different than putting a graded card into a bubble mailer and setting it out. This is a whole process of wrapping up properly and
like
shipping out.
Art. Like you're selling fine art.
So I also looked at that as a positive though. I looked at that and was like, I don't want to go through the hassle of selling or shipping these things, so it's going to force me to hold on to them and see what happens.
That's a good point.
So I look at it as a positive. But yeah, it's gonna be. It is quite the risk, and I will always continue saying it is quite the risk doing this. But it is fun. It is super cool to see.
What's your number 2 show if you had to really dive in behind Dragon Ball for anime cells, not just in general that you
Pokemon
like
for sure. Like
would it be Pokemon? Okay.
Yeah. But that's a bias. It's because the Pokemon card stuff, the Pokemon hobby and business is the only reason I'm able to do any of this. And also, I mean, I love Pokemon. Don't get me wrong. I still do a ton of Pokemon. I haven't sold out completely, guys. But so yeah, maybe there's a little bit of bias. I'm really interested in trying to find some Zoids. Did you ever watch Zoids?
No, I don't think so.
No. It was just like
Zoids.
It was they were mechanical, like prehistoric animatronic like battle Zoids that people would get into and you would fight each other. But there were also like wild ones that you could capture and make your own. And like you're so
close to Pokemon. You're so close to Pokemon.
It really is. And it was pretty epic. It was the show that was on before or after Dragon Ball Z, so I just got hooked to it.
Yeah, basically I would want to run through like the entire Toonami run, and I would say like one thing I thought about because after Brandon Burnavith and I like did our podcast, I was like, my brain started just really circulating. That's my favorite thing, and I'm sure you run into this too. Like when you talk to people, it's like you kind of leave with that like, now I have to talk to myself or like get my thoughts about this. Yeah. But one thing I thought about is, if you obviously were around the same age, so like you grew up with like Toonami and like Steve Bloom voicing Tom and like doing all that. Like I wonder with those little mini series, like if they've got anime cells for those.
I don't think they. Well, the Toonami guy was he CGI?
Well, I guess he was, but then they had, if you remember back then, like they had those mini series of like where they it was basically how they changed the look of the character. I can't remember what the very first one was. I don't know if the first one was CGI. I think Tom version 1 might have been.
But yeah, that's where my mind goes, is like all the Toonami shows, all the Nickelodeon Ed, Ed and Eddie, Rocket Power.
Dude, Rocket Power would be sick.
Johnny Bravo. Yeah, like all that stuff. And they definitely have it. The guy that did Hey Arnold, he's Craig Bartlett, whatever. I forget what his last name is, but he's like, he sells his cells of Hey Arnold every week. Like he'll post
does he really?
Yeah, he signs them and sells them, and I mean he does really well. But yeah, it seems like he might own or have the entire Hey Arnold archive.
What a smart guy
as the creator.
But
all those shows, yeah, I'd love to like Stray Flex and Yaniv, who I bought some stuff from. He was my first guest. He has a Samurai Jack one that is just like epic.
Oh, that's cool.
So there's some cool Samurai Jack ones out there. There's obviously Star Wars, like Clone Wars stuff. There's a lot of big IPs that did this stuff. I was in Hard Rock Tampa 2 months ago, and just walking around the casino, and there's a Beatles section, and I'm looking up at the wall, and there's anime cells. They have
there's really?
a Beatles movie. Yeah, and I'm like, how long have these been here? Why are they tucked away in the corner? Let's move them out in the front. But yeah, they did the Yellow Submarine movie, and it was animated.
That's right.
And they have animation cells. I mean, they're pretty expensive for good shots of like John Lennon and Paul McCartney and all that. But yeah, so like you could really think about just anything that you loved as a kid, and there was probably an animated short of some kind made for that. Music, athlete. I mean, look, like what athlete commercials did they do back in the day? Michael Jordan. There's the
animated
Space Jam. Call. There's all that stuff that they did animated that could exist. So,
well, I remember going back, especially just again Toonami days. Like everybody who ever watched that knows the like music video intro. Like you'll know what I'm talking about. It's like the old school hip hop drums, and it's like a bunch of clips from all the different shows they have. But I remember seeing that as a kid, and there were so many scenes from shows I hadn't watched that I watched those shows because I remember the landscape being so like calming. It's like, think any like lo-fi art that plays like is lo-fi music or whatever is there. And it's like, there were so many cool landscape shots of like sunsets and like these like urban futuristic cities and like, Big O, for example, like that style, like, and I just think, especially as we're talking about this, like I'm kind of like scarily getting excited because I'm like, man, how much am I about to deep dive into this? Like, how much am I going to go look up all these other shows? Because I really focus on like thinking Dragon Ball, thinking some of the Toonami stuff, and now I'm like, oh yeah, Nickelodeon, and like, Johnny Quest is probably as old as I can remember. Like, some of the first anime stuff I ever saw, but you make a good point. You think of like some of those like, 80s, early 90s commercials. Like there had to have been animated of like Jordan. And that's really what it's going to take, like some sports money to come in, like anime cells or something to be like, whoa, like I forgot. But I really like the idea of having like some of those old shows. And it's cool that Hey Arnold guy does that. I didn't even know that, but like I would love to see something like, maybe we do get autos on anime cells, like because the art is still there, but maybe just in the slight corner. Like I can appreciate the artist, like whoever actually made it, but if it was like a character of mine, like I would love a Sean Schimmel on like a Goku cell. Like how cool would that be?
Yeah. I mean, there's already writing on these things. They've got the numbers, the A4, all the notes that they have in the corner. So yeah, throwing a auto on there. I've seen a fair amount of cells signed by Sean Schemmel and all that. They look good. It's just, you worry about the additional chemistry that's getting involved with a marker going onto the cell and hurting it in whatever way. So
it reminds me of like the rare book market a little bit, because I remember I went on a deep dive of rare books, but that's their whole thing is like they treat it like cigars almost. It's like humidor these books, like do not touch anything. Like the OG, like the first prints of Harry Potter, for example, like people keep those in basically like super intense like cases.
Right.
So yeah, I
get flack all the time for hanging mine on the wall and framing them up and doing all this because they are really sensitive, but I'm enjoying them. I'm trying.
It
I'm
looks
doing
amazing.
it. I'm doing it safely or as safe as I can. Outside of putting them in a wine storage facility with controlled humidity and all that. I mean, I do my best to control it all. But yeah, it is that is a very scary thing with all these types of collectibles. But they've existed these have survived for 30 years. Disney Cels are 100 years old. Like some of that artwork.
And it's also kind of nice to have something that's not just like a closet collection.
Yeah.
Like it's cool. You can display it, so why not display? Like, why not white? I mean, I'd love to watch Kid Boo like look at me every time I walk my office. Like, that's awesome. I'm like, yo, that's bad. That gets me pumped for the day. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, because I think especially with today's like the amount of money in collectibles now, like the line's blurred of like, are you enjoying it or are you enjoying the profits? And I think most people enjoy both to a certain extent, but there's certain things like this that I feel like my passion for it would sort of outweigh a little bit of investment. I mean, my brain, I'll just convince myself long term it's going to be worth like bukus of money to just justify me owning them.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where my brain goes. I'm like, yeah, it'll pay off for sure. But in my brain, I'm like, I just am happy I have this.
Yeah, I mean that's how it got with Pokemon. I mean, I'm still like, there's things in Pokemon that get me excited, like uncut sheets, because I look at one every day. Like I got one of the fossil sheets. And it's an amazing art piece. It's a big thing displayed on my wall. And I will always do cards. It's a great business. It's a great hobby. It's a great collectible. It's still a big part of my community as far as who I talk with, just on a friendship level too. But like you said, it's just like I've gotten desensitized to it. The trophy stuff was exciting when it was hard to do. Now there's an auction of an illustrator every month.
Yeah, I see a PSA 10 like SSB. I'm like, what else do we have?
Yeah, and I'm like, honestly, the Akabane stuff scared me like crazy.
As it should.
I don't understand why that still isn't like, it's just kind of not being talked about still. And people are still showing off some cards. And I'm like, guys, these are not legitimate. Like, they're cool. I get it. They look awesome, but they're not.
I think that if they're priced accordingly, so I saw I can't remember his name, but I'm sure you know who he is. Maybe it's Beam Collector, somebody's posting the sheets, and they're like the fantasy Akabane collection or whatever, which I think is funny.
Is that Ben? That's Benjamin B.
That's Ben. Yeah. That's him.
Yeah. So I mean, he has an epic collection.
It's insane.
So yeah,
he's posting the uncut sheets, but he's saying it in a satirical, like this is. But I also do think that it's very cool to have as a timestamp of like that. Like it's going to become its own thing. But obviously people are confused. They're like, oh my gosh, the uncut illustrator sheet. And he's, people are like, what are you talking about?
It's now a collectible in its own right for a different reason. Like for a different reason, right? Which is still fine. Like you can collect whatever you want. You can collect fakes. You can collect all that. So like people collect the fake, Pokemon stickers from back in the day or whatever they are, because they're cool. They look cool. Yeah, Pokemon just sat in the closet for me for so long, sat in a storage unit, and I just couldn't. It just slowly don't enjoy it as much as a collectible, more so than I enjoy it incredibly as a business. It's super fun. Like I love making the risky bets and buying a bunch of whatever. Or, still stumbling upon cool collections or things like that. So there's plenty of Pokemon collectibles, even not cards too, that I am still heavily chasing for my personal collection. Mostly non-card stuff, but the Pokemon side of things has been tough to get excited about cards wise for me for a while.
I think what I now, because I've dealt in a higher end market, not near, what you were doing for many years. I can't even imagine how desensitized you could be. It's like, oh, Trophy King, that's cool, whatever, like, because you kind of can get that way.
That's terrible. Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, I know. And they're like, what's wrong with this guy?
I still love That the Trophy King, actually, that one is one that I always love seeing. Still,
It's a very cool story too.
Yeah.
It's like, but then you've got to pick it up in the, it's in the graded guard. It's in the other like big diamond plated. Like it's like you don't even really get. It's like touching museum glass and being like, I held it. Like but with now the only real thing that sort of sparks my interest is if I see like it's like conditional rarity is almost the only thing that depending on the card.
Yeah,
because there's so many examples of PSA 10s, black labels, whatever. But occasionally, I'll see like a black label of a vintage niche card, and I'm like, whoa, like that.
Yeah.
I don't know how you did that. Or I'll see a PSA 10 of something that maybe like is pop 11, and I'm like, oh, sweet, a new cert. Like it's not a 1 cert, it's not a 2 cert. Something like there's a couple of things, but it's always the conditional rarity. There's not really any cards that I get excited about seeing anymore because I guess once you've seen them, you've been around them, you understand the market, you saw what they were, like it's the conditional rarity is the only thing that excites me. And when that happens, that's where I start looking a little bit more outside of it because I'm like, I do like the art. I appreciate what they're doing. There's not going to be a new card that comes out where I care about conditional rarity. So this is only niche vintage stuff personally. But with these type of collectibles, I like to look at historical stuff like this. And I feel like you're kind of on that same wavelength of like, if we're really going to be our stereotypical like millennial selves, it's like, let's look at that 1990 to 2000 like time frame and like, let's buy, like, where is the nostalgia stuff we can buy that's like new? Like we've got to scratch the collector's itch, at some point. I've done VHSs of movies that I love, but like, you'll never see me like grade DVDs. You'll never see me grade Blu-rays, which is a thing and people do. I'm like, but that's just like, that's easy,
Yeah.
But that's the thing is I think that when you start really looking at collectibles, it's strange to me how people can do the same thing over and over and over again for many, many years and say like, this still excites me when a new Pokemon set comes out. Like there's some cool cards and maybe this is just me and I'm not hating on these people for doing this, but like I find the vast amount of people who do it a bit disingenuous. Like it's okay to be like, cool, it's come out, but to be like, look at this crazy art. Like, I don't know how you can still feel that, or unless there's something wrong with me. I don't know.
I think I'm on the same exact thought process there. It's definitely become, just looking at the market today, the boom that we have today, to me personally, it feels more like a financial opportunity boom. Like people are building their 100%. Businesses. People like this is a money boom. This is not, and that's not to say like that's going to stop. Like I think it could easily keep on going, but like COVID, I felt like it was forced because of what happened, but it was a more organic discovery of interest boom because people got bored, they didn't know what to do, they discovered Pokemon organically, and it boomed.
Like, when's the last time I was happy? Maybe when I was 8.
Exactly.
Like,
and
what year was
honestly,
that?
all of us like when I got in it in 2015, when I talked to people who got into it in 2010 or whenever it was, that was the story. It was I graduated college. I was depressed. I was going through my quarter life crisis of not knowing what I wanted to do with my life.
That's a good way to put it.
And I dived into Pokemon. And I think that was the story for like the original podcast I did when it was like Meet the Collectors. It was the same story for a lot of people. They were going through a hard time. They were going through a lonely time, whatever it was. And then everybody got forced into loneliness with COVID and they discovered Pokemon. And then obviously, their interests, when every world opened back up, their interest outweighed what they were doing with Pokemon. But this one feels like opportunity boom, and which is very real, like very, very real. There's corporate jobs out there for it. There are tons of startups. There is a lot of opportunity for people to make money in collectibles, not just cards, but collectibles in general.
There's too many opportunities right now. Yeah. Not that I want them to scale back, but like anybody I've heard who's talked about, there's not many people, but I'll see people occasionally float like, how do people, like, it's so hard to make money in these hobbies, like whatever. And I'm like, what? I just don't get it. It feels like an absolute gold. I'm like, I don't know if you feel this way, but like it kind of feels a little bit similar to 2020 at this point, where it's like not to that degree of like put anything in plastic and it makes money, but like
Yeah.
If you just know what you're doing and what you're navigating, and you don't have to be like, let me go buy this like $1,000 card and grade it or anything. Like, I mean, there's guys doing like heavy volume of like, oh, here's a $60 raw card and I can sell it for $250, and they just repeat that 500 times a month or whatever.
Yeah.
And it feels like that is the biggest like example of like the opportunity of like you can go that low end and still make crazy gains, and there's a buyer pool for all of that supply.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at Van Gogh Pikachu, which congratulations riding your wave up. It's still going, which is insane.
Yeah.
I forget what the pop is on that card at this point, but I
did the math on it. I think that card, between all of the grading companies and probably what's still out there not graded, I think the Van Gogh Pika on its own has $100 million market cap.
I 100% believe it. 100% believe it. It grades well.
Yeah.
It grades really well. There's some 9s out there, but like realistically, like I've graded, not near as many as you and Dan did, but like I probably graded 30 plus. It's mid 90s on a gem rate, depending on what the company is for the most part. Like,
yeah.
But I just saw a PSA 10 sell for, I think, $1,200 almost.
Jeez.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah, that's wild.
I sold my first 10 I graded, I think, for like $350. It was over the moon. I was like, let's go. Like,
this was the last like 8 months, but yeah, Dan and I sold 210s at an average value of like 600. So
and it's doubled like that. I mean,
unbelievable.
The boom is here. Like, it's been going for a while. Like, I've been hearing we've heard so many people like, oh, it's about to crash and the bubbles popped after like one thing goes down, but it's like, just look to your right. Here's something that is going insane.
Yeah. I'm definitely more bearish than I'm sounding and all that, but I don't like to get into it. It's still, I mean, I'm always buying, always selling, but it is a very interesting time. No one knows. I feel like there's a lot of similarities. It definitely are a lot of similarities, but yeah, we'll all know what happened after it's done.
I think it's been riding itself solo this for a good while, but now I think the overall collectibles market has seen an incredible boom. And I think it's riding now off of that little bit of a bump wave, which I think is why it's lasted longer than I expected it to. You got Labubu's. I mean, come on, like, hey, I've flipped a couple of cases of those.
Yeah.
The buyer pool is amazing. Whatever. Thank you, Chloe, for the amazing advertisements. Like, I mean, unpaid advertisements, but I mean, you've got stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, you've got, coins are going up a ton. Like, a lot of currency stuff is going up a ton. I mean, it's just anything and everything that people can do outside of traditional investments. Like, everybody's dabbling in something.
Yeah.
Because I think the traditional investments require patience, which I don't think anybody has. When they saw Bitcoin millionaires happen, like basically overnight, not overnight, but whatever, 2-3 years.
Yeah.
I think people went like, I'm going to rethink my 45-year play in the 10% gains here, and I'm just going to start looking around. And I think that a lot of people, especially newer generations, and I've had this conversation, privately a ton of times.
Yeah. I
think it's like an impatient thing. Probably social media, like, our attention span isn't that long, and people like the idea of buying something and a month later, like, flipping it for 50% or 100% or whatever. Yeah. And I think that collectibles are really about the only asset class you can really do that with. And it's just you and a consumer, really, or a consignor, which is even easier. So it's interesting. I don't know where it goes. I don't know how it. I mean, sure, we're going to see ups and downs, but I don't see how it won't be self-sustainable by the people involved in it at this point.
Yeah.
Like, where do the buyers go? They're going to buy something.
Yeah, I mean, it just...
Anime sells.
Anime sells. That's what they're going to be buying. They're going to lose all their money gambling. That's what's going to happen.
100%.
That's truly where our world is going. Well, yeah, I mean, like, buying my house was the dumbest thing I ever could have done. It's going to be great when it's paid off.
I just busted out laughing when I read that.
It's truly like, what I sold to buy this house, I could have just waited, sold, and then bought the house outright, like by this time. But yeah, it's so that's the other thing too. A lot of people just, houses are so unaffordable now. It's idiotic where the market's at. So it's unattainable. So now I have money. Let's go buy Bitcoin. Let's go buy collectibles. Let's go do whatever else.
Spot on. I've had that exact same conversation with more than a few people. Like, we're entering in, because I'm in real estate software renter. Basically, anybody who rents to you, like that's the kind of software I deal with. So I think we are absolutely headed to a country full of renters. And I think that people who, like, the way I look at a yacht is the way that like anybody up and coming looks at owning a house.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to own a yacht. They're like, I'm not going to own a house. And they are just as passionate about that feeling. And I think you're exactly right. It's like, they're like, I'm renting, like, whatever, I'm fine with $1,000 a month. Like, this is good. And then they've got those extra funds and they're like, I'm going to just ride the collectibles wave. I'm going to go, like you said, buy Bitcoin, or I'm going to do something else. I mean, it's like, that's their way to financial freedom in their eyes versus like, even I'd say maybe at the very beginning of my generation, like real estate was really what we saw. Like, we saw the real estate boom. We saw people making tons of money. So it's just interesting. It's an interesting like thought experiment to really like, kind of go through that of like why. And that's also why I tend to be, that's the bullish to my bearishness. Because I can't think of myself at 35 years old. I have to think of like the people who are like early 20s, like where's their money going?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, unfortunately, in this country, they don't have a lot, depending on what they did. But like, it's like the people who do, like, what are they interested in? They don't care. Like, it's boring to hear Wall Street 90-year-old dudes talking to you about like CD bonds and I bonds when they're like 10%. Bro, my Charizard just went up 130%. Like, the disconnect and like what people spend their money on nowadays is so different.
Yeah,
and it's exciting, and I'm glad to be in the middle where I understand both. Like,
that's the thing. Like, I always sit back. I mean, one of like the reason I decided to just buy the house, I sat back and was like, you know what, this world is headed towards a world of renters. I'm going to go against the grain and buy the house. Mm-hmm. So like, there's that argument of the opposite end of do what everybody else isn't doing, and it I mean, that's what happened with Pokemon, right? I was buying
what's happening with anime Cels,
ridiculous heaps of Pokemon, and my family thought I was crazy, my friends thought I was crazy, and it worked out. And that was just that was buying anything and everything. So hopefully with anime Cels, I'm being a little bit more strategic and smarter about it.
The themes you're picking are fantastic. So I'm sure there's plenty of stuff you can be like, here's TN walking with Chaozu. It's like, I don't now if he's doing the triangle thing or whatever to sell,
right?
Like,
exactly. Which cool, I did. I know the guy who has it. So,
that's a dope seed to have.
It like, really is
very dope seed to have. Yeah, but yeah. I think especially with housing and things like that, and having to allocate. I mean, that's the thing is there's so many things that you can do. So like opportunity wise, I mean, I've always been a bigger fan of owning something, because if everything just goes like way like the whole country gets wrecked, at least I got this place. Like, my landlord doesn't have keys. I'm like, whatever, here it is. But that's the only reason, is more of a safety issue. Like, I'll have somewhere to stay versus an investment vehicle.
That peace of mind is definitely valuable. Because when it comes to collectibles, I am incredibly risky. And that's just out of pure irrational enjoyment. But when it comes to personal finances and a house, like I get like, again, one of the people I talk to a lot about this, he's just like, what are you doing throwing extra money at the house? You can be making more than your mortgage rate by investing in this and this. I'm like, no, I just gotta pay it off, because it's just that mental weight. I can't, it's so valuable to me.
It's one of the, I mean, there's a lot well, all right, guys. So once we're done with this one, we'll go on like a new channel we'll create and really start going into this, because I could talk that stuff all day. But like, I know that there's so many things about like how that doesn't make sense to do that, because I mean, especially when high yield savings accounts were like more than people's mortgage percentage. It was like, what do you like? You make more money with it sitting there than you do like spending it. But whatever. Everybody's getting paid off house. I can only imagine the weight that takes off people's shoulders. But that's no different than telling somebody like, you shouldn't be buying Van Goghs at $70, John. Like, what are you doing? And then look what happens, right?
It all balances out. That's the key. It all
That's a good
balances
way.
out. Yeah. But back to anime cells after our nice
Sorry,
tangent
guys.
about.
We kind of took a detour there.
So have you bought any yet? You haven't bought any yet.
I'm doing my thing where I sit and do way too long of just patient research and waiting at this point.
The smart thing, yeah. Okay.
Well, I wouldn't call it smart. It's more of like protecting myself and my own. Because look, I love the irrational enjoyment. That should be like the name of this podcast. It's like that's exactly like what I would feel. And like, there's been markets I haven't gotten into because, like, comic books, for example, or graded video games. Like, I follow them so on the like outskirts,
yeah,
and I don't go super. Like, there will be a night or two. Like, I'm like, I remember my favorite Doctor Doom comic. Let's see what it is, and it's like, $6,000. I'm like, oh, all right, never mind. Let's close this app. Like, I can't do this right now.
Yeah.
But with anime cells, I haven't. I've looked at a few things, but honestly, the funny thing is, it's going to take like me being in that community of friends who are like, hey, have you seen this? Look at this. Oh, yeah, for sure. Because I want to buy it. And then I want to be validated by those friends. And then when they buy stuff, I can validate them. And then we just get stuck in a feedback loop of financial responsibility. I'm ready for it, but I just haven't allowed myself to get there yet. So that's the only thing.
I mean, like I fully expect a market correction in every financial market, especially collectibles, probably sooner than most. But I think that's what it's going to take for stuff like this to make it to the next step. Is you go through a hype period where prices are skyrocketing and people think you're crazy, and then it crashes and they laugh at you, and then it comes back up with vengeance. So like I fully believe like this is going to take a long time for these to a long time, 3 years, 5 years. It's not that long.
It's going to take that forever 5 years that forever.
Yeah, I'm just so spoiled by Pokemon.
Right.
I truly, yeah, it'll take time. So it's going to require patience and, but yeah, I just the way that anime is becoming so ingrained in normal life, normal culture now. It's hitting the masses. I just it's a no-brainer, people. Like, buy One Piece. Not One Piece. Well, One Piece is good too. It's expensive. But like go buy one thing that you like. Because I think it'll do well. I think it's a really great thing. I mean, we complained in Pokemon. I don't know if you were one of these people, but I complained in Pokemon for so long about not being able to buy or even see the original artwork of these cards and this stuff. And it just never came, and it still hasn't come. I mean, we see drawings like, people will do a reader will do a drawing at an event or something, but where are the original concepts and sketches? And
Bonnie's got them, dude. He's ready to sell them. They're ready to go.
So like, yeah, so I can thankfully score. They did their card set as snapshots from the anime, so I can match them up 1-to-1, which is just a fun thing to do.
Super cool. Get the Super Saiyan 3 Goku, dude. Like, you know what card I'm talking about. That would be
good luck.
Oh, that'd be so sick.
Yeah. But then like Pokemon, like I have a few Pokemon cells that I haven't really dived deep into those, but maybe they match up with a Topps card because Topps has all those movie shots and TV shots. So, that's something that could be really cool. Pokemon's harder to find and obviously quite expensive because it's Pokemon, but there's a lot of that. There's all these card games, all these card sets. I mean, imagine what Avatar might be doing. I don't know if Avatar has anime cells if it's too new, but it might. I'm sure it has sketches.
Yeah.
Imagine what that would do. Well, Magic collab comes out with Avatar: The Last Airbender at the end of the year. Like there's just so many cool things to look into.
Spider-Man would be sick.
Gosh, Bro Namath is going to do incredible with all his comic art.
he's like so galaxy brained ahead of us, but I kept thinking Spider-Man, like the animated series.
Oh,
because like that was a really awesome show. Batman the animated series is probably
that Justice League show. I mean, there's Teen Titans. There's quite a bit of Teen Titans stuff up on eBay. At least the sketches. I don't know if there's cells from that. Because there's shows that have everything. They did the cells, they painted, but there's shows like Naruto, they only did the sketches, and then everything
Oh,
was done on
interesting. Just animated them, I guess, or
they yeah, it was all colored on computer. So they
I
did
feel
it.
like Batman the Animated Series. I don't know when that came out, but it
There's a
seems
bunch of it. Yeah.
Is there? I
Yeah.
would love like if I could get a Mark Hamill Joker for like the Kevin Conroy's Batman. And that was like my show. Like I think that's
like
the best voice acting.
If you go to a Comic-Con,
they're there.
They're there. Like there are multiple vendors with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Batman, and then random like Hanna-Barbera or Disney stuff that's more accessible, I guess. So
yeah, I think it's interesting because you always think of like popular shows that people enjoy or popular shows that people watch. So like you see like I like Breaking Bad is probably the best example, right? Like people who watch Breaking Bad, like one of the best all time shows, or like Squid Game, Black Mirror. These are amazing. You just like the first person you see, like, have you watched Black Mirror? Like, have you done this or like whatever?
Yeah.
There's something really special about like anime that I think for so long it's like you kind of just. I don't know if this was everybody. I'm just talking about myself, man. It's like I didn't lead with like, have you watched all of Yu Yu Hakusho? Like it
absolutely
wasn't
not, dude.
You know what I mean? But then like you find out, or especially Dragon Ball is probably the easiest one because like you'd hear somebody be like, or usually like I don't know if you remember back in the day, people wear those huge like Dragon Ball shirts with like all the Super Saiyans on them. And I was like, my man, and like that was always really funny because it was like that was the one people weren't really like. I don't want to call it embarrassed, but like. They weren't as hesitant to not talk about that versus like, if you went deep dive into like, I mean, I guess you could bring up like Aqua Teen, Hunger Force and those type of shows, like, cause those are more funny. But like, if you watch like Yu Yu Hakusho or Outlaw Star that were very deep, emotional story arcs and like character arcs, it's like, that's a very personal experience that you're going through versus like, if I'm watching Breaking Bad, I'm just more like, whoa, like, I can't believe Heisenberg did this or, whatever. But like,
yeah, I
when
saw
I'm watching these.
Go ahead. No, finish.
I was just saying, ultimately, like I think anime is a lot more of a deeper emotional connection to a story, which I think is where kind of the value and the interest and the like. It's not just like, oh, that's a cool collectible. It's like, whoa, like that is. I remember where I was at. I remember seeing that for the first time. I remember how it made me feel. Like when you showed me King Colt and Frieza, I was like. Nothing was cooler than seeing Trunks as a Super Saiyan for the first time and not knowing who he was.
Yep.
Like, because the internet wasn't really like, you didn't just go on and look that up. Like, he showed up. I was like, there's another one? Who is this dude? Like, I actually lived through the mystery of it,
One thing I would pay so much money for is like just a pill or whatever that would make me forget a certain memory. So I could just for like a certain period of time, right? So I could rewatch that episode or
experience it.
Like, let me forget Dragon Ball Z for a week, and so I can rewatch it for the first time again. Like that would be the most insane thing ever.
Well, I remember, sometimes I'll even throw on like the Bruce Faulkner score if I'm bored and I'm driving. I'm like, I don't know what I want to listen to. I'll just literally throw on like the Bruce Faulkner, like I'll throw on like Vegeta. His, they'll have playlists, right? Like I'll just listen to Vegeta piano, Cell. Is awesome, but like or whatever that one is where they're fighting on Namekian's like dun 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 dun. That's like the big theme of like when they fight. That's like the main one.
Perfect Cell's probably the best, and then
Perfect Cell's dope.
Pycon's pretty good too.
But like what's funny, and this is like kind of my proof I still like appreciate this stuff. Like I'll listen to it in the car and I get literal goosebumps because I'm like it's weird. Like and I'm not even thinking anything. Like, oh man, like this is so cool. So like. I think when there's that type of like passion, you got a physical reaction to memories of the of what you get.
There was a post I saw of like what you thought it was weird when I watched anime in middle school, but you're watching Love Island or whatever is out, and that's not weird. Because there's I was watching Naruto for the first time in college, and at that time no one knew I was a nerd. Like I was playing basketball, I was. It still wasn't acceptable in college. This was 10 years ago, 12 years ago now. Gosh, I'm old. And I forgot to I fell asleep to it one day or whatever. And so in the middle of class, I opened my computer and it's just Naruto like blasting. And my friend next to me, she was like, did we just find out you're a weirdo? I was like, okay. This is an
But
awesome
there was
show.
one guy who was like,
that's my best friend now.
it's like that Lee, it's like that Lee DiCaprio who's like pointing at the TV, like,
Yeah.
No,
so
it's awesome. And I think it's something that, like, I think a lot of anime shows, like, you watched alone, so it adds to that, like, personal experience. But then, like, you find out, like, you and I know Dragon Ball, like the show. Like, there's no, like, it would be so hard to stump me on something of, like, remembering it, or like maybe a random side character, I don't know. But I've looked at the lore, I've watched the fan videos, I've watched the breakdowns and stuff. Like, I'm that deep into it. I watch the fan mangas as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, when you have that type of experience and you see art of, like, and I guess to tie this all back in, guys, sorry, I know we're just like fangirling out here together, but like, when it comes to anime Cels and like the scenes that you look for, I think that's going to be really where you have to have passion to understand that particular market, versus in Pokemon right now, specifically, just because that's what I'm very involved in. You can kind of just go Pikachu, Charizard, Mew. And you can do
Gengar
well.
now. Yeah.
Gengar for sure. But you can just do well.
Yeah.
Like, there's not really a lot of passion thought into it. That's why a lot of sports guys are coming in and they haven't left yet. Because they're able to just do this stuff. They're like, what top 5 Pokemon on Google? And they just go for it. If you just go out and buy every anime cell that shows up, it's like, if it doesn't have meaning to the actual fan base, like, your value's not going to be there. So I do like that a lot about it, because it takes the knowledge to actually, and the passion, in my opinion, to, like, know what to look for.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was always the edge, right? You love something so much that you're so educated about it, so knowledgeable about it, and because it's an intuition thing, but also it just makes sense. Like, if you love something that much, there are many other people that are going to love that same thing just as much as you do. So that's what happened with, it's just with Pokemon for sure. Everybody did it. You look at, like, I remember the thought of when Justin Bieber posted that video on his story on Instagram with his cards up on the wall.
Yeah.
It was like, these guys, they were kids at one point too, and they were opening packs just as much as we were, or as excited to open up, get that single pack on Christmas just as much as we were at one point in their lives, and they, you go off. We went off to school, college, did, the normal life thing. They went off to be a super celebrity musician, but that we had the same exact memory of opening up a Pokemon pack at age 7 or whatever. So yeah, it's that's the thing with these, is like, Dragon Ball was enjoyed by the entire world. It was,
I think it's the longest running anime show of all time, if I'm not mistaken.
It's stopping now for the time being. But every single country, it was like the first anime that was popular outside of Japan, and like every single country. Like, when Toriyama died, like, Mexico shut down. We're not doing anything.
Canada had to be in tears. They were pouring syrup out for everybody.
Yeah.
Canadians love Dragon Ball.
And that's just how
Dragon Ball content. It's coming from them.
It's unbelievable. And like, even that, the Instagram videos and TikTok videos of Dragon Ball Z content with, like, whatever speech in the back, or just a cool animation scene, the amount of engagement, the views, the likes, the comments, it is unbelievable. So, like, how is this? I just don't see how this doesn't blow up to something 100%. Amazing.
It's why I've always been very disappointed, because I did Dragon Ball Super cards for a while, but then the market literally, it's like, it just overnight, people were like, don't care.
Yeah, and I never did Super. I couldn't get into it for some reason. But I also just understood Dragon Ball has done that over and over and over again. They have done the same thing with their card game, that I don't know if they'll ever figure it out, or they can. I just don't know. I
always thought Score was super cool, but yeah, Bandai doesn't really know what to do. Like, they try, but like, I remember just one of the first games, or it was the first game outside of Pokemon I really bought, was Zelda, and Dragon Ball first was Dragon Ball Super. And I just bought the newest stuff. I was like, dude, this art is insane. Like, I couldn't believe it. And then, again, I love the IP. Everybody loves it. And all of a sudden, like, I would post, like, he's at my Instagram, and I'd post like, any vintage cards I was buying at the time. It's like ton of likes, real happy. I post a Dragon Ball card. It was like people like barely. I was like, were my settings off? Like nobody cares about this, and that was the hard part in the card world of it. It didn't seem like there was very much like interest at all. So I've always, I guess, wanted to kind of replenish my something I'm engaging in, as it relates to Dragon Ball. I just haven't found it until obviously yourself, Bro Name and Brandon. It's a dangerous thing for a fan to see, because it's like, well, what can I get? And like, again, going back through all like 500 something episodes, I'm like, I could probably give you off the top of my head like 30 scenes I'd want to look for.
Well, I've been rewatching it to make sure I know which scenes I want.
See, you still when you're a kid, you're just watching it. Now you got a notebook.
No, it honestly, I'm watching it in a completely different way right now. I mean, I might not be enjoying but I can't really enjoy the buildups anymore because I know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But it is, I am watching it in a completely different way now, which kind of feels like a first time. So I'm looking at all these scenes and yeah, I guess, well, like any anime, like I rewatched the Pokemon first movie to figure out which things I'm looking for. So it is exciting to kind of go through it again and really look at the details of stuff. And like, I'm matching up the scenes perfectly with the Cels that I have to see like where the maybe even like imperfections were when they first made it. Like, it's really cool. So it is a lot of fun to rediscover that old thing again with something new like this. It's really unbelievable.
You never really think you're going to, which is why I always encourage people. I'm like, just take your blinders off just for a week or two. Just look around at other stuff you might enjoy. It's not like something super hype, like something you actually might have some passion about. I was like, because like you said, you started this podcast talking about like, what do you collect? Like, your coworkers and stuff like that. Like, ask that to yourself. And then you're like, what could I collect?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what would my childhood self, if I gave him like a bunch of money, what would he collect? And then you can really start piecing together some stuff and kind of really like, I mean, I don't, that gets like in the super meta when it comes to like, what are we collecting? Are we collecting our old selves? Or are we collecting stuff now? Like, it's kind of like, I'm just building a shrine to my childhood is really all I'm doing. But it's like you're capturing those feelings. Like I said, I listened to Bruce Faulkner's score of like original Dragon Ball Z. It gives me goosebumps. I'm looking at this stuff, like I'm not getting goosebumps, but I'm like, this makes me feel good. Like, it makes me, remember where I came from, remember those feelings of excitement of the first time watching that or something. And like, I feel like we value the way that things make us feel more than we do, or at least myself, like, than just the financial gain of it. Like, I didn't get into collectibles for just the financial gain. I got into buy stuff from back then, and then obviously financial gain comes with it. But discovering a new category of something like you have, I'm very envious of it, and I'm very scared of myself about it, I guess. So it's a kryptonite, but it's so fun. I love hearing the passion. I mean, everything you post, I've told you a few times, like, awful out of like, dude, I love how deep you're in this, like, right now. It gets me hyped for you, know.
It's exciting. I'm truly curious what the next thing I buy is, because I haven't bought something and it's not a long time, but like,
it's been like hours, dude. Like, you need to really step it up.
Because I felt like I had to move fast, and if people started talking about the prices, it would ruin getting other ones, because I have tried to buy some other ones and they're asking even crazier prices now, and it's just not, can't do it.
What's the name of your price game right now? Plus, Heritage is selling a lot of them, and the prices are a lot more than what private sales are going for, and these guys are going to figure it out. Like, it's going to be, why would I sell this to you for $5,000 when I can sell it for $9,000 on Heritage or whatever? I mean, the prices are huge.
Literally how I'm pricing things. Like, I'm going based off of sales of kind of the smaller, non-exciting stuff and comparing it to what I'm finding exciting, and like, it just seems like a ridiculous ratio to me. So that's
it's a
how
niche market. Niche means name your price market, like, and that's pretty much what these guys do.
So I don't know, maybe I got swindled. We'll find out when I die. I don't know. In 20 years, 50 years, however long it is.
20 years. Come on.
But yeah, dude, I'm truly excited about this. So it's cool that it's kind of bleeding into my Pokemon friends too, to talk about it and kind of have that new excitement of something new. So happy to help you find your first piece when you're ready.
Dude, I'm never ready. So just
I
send
mean,
me stuff.
you're gonna start diving into
I'm gonna
all the Nickelodeon and yeah.
I'll probably end up messaging you first and being like, "You seen anything from the show? Like, you know anybody who has this?" I mean, I'm probably my follow list is gonna, like, who I follow is probably gonna skyrocket.
My entire feed is completely changed on
just Cels.
Yeah, I don't see Pokemon stuff anymore. I don't miss it right now, but I'm sure I will.
I mean, you've seen it all before. I mean, the Find card basically tells me everything I need to know. Like, he's like my news channel at this point. Like, I'm just like, oh, cool, that's what they did. Awesome, I've learned everything I need to know right now.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I mean, I definitely will, and I want something. Like, I would love to. I'm redoing my office at the moment anyway, which is like perfect example. I saw. Honestly, you shouldn't have had Kid Buu behind you, because now I'm like, damn, that's like super sick. Like, I'm just thinking, like, what's my version of that,
Yeah.
Which I guess I'll ask this, because I know we've been going a bit. Do you have a cost aside? What's the scene for you in all of Dragon Ball?
It's probably the same one as Brandon. It's the father-son Kamehameha. I think that's everybody's. But there are a couple ones that I'm really, really looking for specifically right now. That I think one of them no longer exists because it got cut. But like the trunks that I have, the Ultra Super Saiyan trunks, fighting Cell, he's super buff, super beefy. I need the Vegeta and the Goku version of that. And I think the Vegeta exists. I don't know if it's a pan, but it exists. The Goku is a pan, though, but I've seen the top half of it, so I think it got cut. So I don't think I can ever have that trio.
Oh, that's brutal.
But that's what I'm looking for right now, is those guys. But I guess I mean, a really epic scene, though, too. It's so tough.
There's a lot of good ones.
Yeah, it's so good. It just keeps going back to the father-son Kamehameha. I mean, I'd love just the Cell Saga. So there's like the, instant transmission Goku when he's got, he does that.
He's looking back and he's like,
yeah.
See ya.
Oh man.
Can I give you two for me?
Final just Flash Vegeta is nuts.
That's true.
Yeah. What?
I can't remember who posted this. You'll probably know, but someone, it might have been you. I don't know. Anytime I see it, I'm like, it's either Jock or Brandon. I don't know who posted it, but sometimes on my For You page, it'll show up. But somebody posted the, when Gohan turns Super Saiyan 2 and he's staring, he still has the tears in his eyes.
Yeah.
That would be like super, super cool to own. And then the other one, I think I would, which I'm sure is like impossible, or it's still at, Toei's office or whoever. There's a scene when Goku is becoming Super Saiyan and he like jerks like his head up and there's like lightning behind his head and like his eyes are kind of like gone for a second. Like, I'm sure that if there's a still of that would be cool to get the right before. Like, it's not front facing, it's like from the side and he's like looking down and like looks up and there's lightning behind it.
There's the pan of him looking down. There's two of them. But that, I know what shot you're talking about, where he cocks his head back.
And there's like a lightning streak that happens, I think, all the way across.
So that would just be like, by the way, guys,
this is pure memory. I have no idea if like that's exactly what
that would be just like a portrait shot of his head, probably. I don't know if I've seen that one. That would be pretty cool. But yeah, that there's the one pan of Goku having turned Super Saiyan for the first time, like looking back. There's a brief snap.
That's got to be the grail of the grail. Like,
that would go for $1 million today, probably. 100%. Like
100%.
It is the shot, and I believe Toei still has it. Or the video was from I don't know how long ago, but they had it on their table. They didn't pull it out; they pulled something else. and you could only see like half of it.
Somebody's
But
like, "Where's that?"
They literally, like, they were going through it. They have all these epic pieces, and then you see it, and you're like, oh, no way. And then a guy pulls out like a Piccolo and a Krillin cell and looks at that instead. And it's the most disappointing thing ever.
I can't even imagine what that, because I know exactly what you're talking about. It's when he's like super surrounded by his golden aura and he's looking, I think he's looking back at Kid Gohan. And like, I can't even imagine, or just posing, maybe is what it was.
He's posing, looking at Frieza or somebody. Yeah, I don't know who he's looking at, but
I know exactly the scene you're talking about. And that's,
it's epic.
It's hard to narrow down that show.
Yeah, it's a long show, a lot of scenes. But yeah, man, this was great. We could go on forever just talking about life. I mean, that's kind of what this was. Hopefully people enjoy it. But yeah, looking forward to.
I love this stuff personally. I think it's better to have authentic, organic conversations like this versus we haven't talked about the card market or the prices at all. So refreshing. I
can't take it anymore. The same videos over and over again of I was right. I talked about this. I said this. Look at me now. I can't stand the content out there right now, and that is shots to everybody. Sorry, even my friends.
It's hard. I've said that a few just on podcasts. I'm like, it's so hard for me to it's hard for me to even click at this point because I'm like, I don't care if blah 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 said is tanking. Like it's this type of stuff. I really hope that AI videos take over YouTube, which they already really are, so that organic conversations like this that are very like enjoyable in the collectibles market, in my opinion, like it's like two people who are passionate about something talking about collectibles. That's how I started watching content when I got into this, when it was like SM Pratt and people like that. And then now it's kind of, again, all the financial layers. So whether you think people like it or not, whether it does the same numbers as what you've seen in the past, which is probably gonna be hard to beat, I appreciate this. And I know that people that are in the real collectibles, like collector space, as pretentious as that sounds, like appreciate these type of conversations. So,
I mean, what's so valuable about these conversations, and I'm just going to keep going on, is because they're organic and they're us just like discovering things while we're talking. There's so much opportunity in what we're saying that we might not even be catching. So when you're listening to it, there might be something that just a light bulb will pop up in your head and just be like, that's a great idea, or like how you can segue it to something else. And you can't really do that with those videos that are out now, just talking about the same thing happening in the market. So it's a good listen. I like listening to this content too. It's you just turn it on when you're doing whatever. So
100%.
It's nice.
And I like not knowing where the conversation's going.
Yeah.
That's what's fun. It's like, we know we're going to talk anime Cels. Did I know we were going to talk about them for 40 minutes? No. But I felt like it was at least like there's variation of topics within it. And I'm not an owner of any of them. I don't engage in the market. So I think that's actually a lot more fun to kind of learn stuff from you on the fly here. And like with the audience is kind of fun to be able to ask those questions of like, oh, that's cool. Like I've seen this. What about this? So I think one thing you're doing also is pioneering the content in this space, which I know you've thought about. Like, so it's cool to see. And I truly hope that we see more of this type of conversations about, these type of markets, because I think they're very slept on 100% right now.
Yeah. I mean, people are complaining to me that all I do is talk about expensive stuff and high-end stuff, how much money I spent. Go make content on your own and talk about the other stuff. I would love to listen to it. I would absolutely love to see it. So that's the goal, is to expand this hobby, make people know about it, learn about it. I'm trying to learn more about it. That's why I'm doing this, so I can have people on and talk about it and discover new things. But yeah, awesome. This was great. Really nice chatting with you, hanging out. Are you still doing your podcast, or is it on hiatus?
I wrapped with Brandon. It's like this, I do seasons in it. So it's like you run season 1, ended it. It was like 2 years later, season 2, had a bunch of people on for like 6 months. And then I ended with Brandon, and I had like 8 other people who I had like talked about. I was just kind of sending dates, but I don't know how content creators do it so consistently and often. Not that I was bored of the conversations. Absolutely love the conversations, all the people I talked to and we're going to talk to. I just have to take a break at some point, because when I really start feeling that feeling, and I'd say probably 6 months usually I'll feel that way, is I'm like, I forgot I've got to work on somebody's schedule. I've got to be here. I've got to do this live. Like, that's the only thing. I mean, I had some really awesome people even lined up, like they're already scheduled. And I was just like, hey, like, I'm calling it, like I'm wrapping this right now. I didn't really tell anybody. I actually changed the video title with Brandon after it went live, because I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna schedule these anymore. I felt bad because I think one of the people I was going to have on was Melly, which, you know that name?
Oh, yeah.
So she was going to come on, and I was really excited because, again, talking about like collectors, she's like a big master set person. She, again, was the Art Academy winner of the Chef Pikachu, if anybody knows that. But
it was the chef. Oh, well, there was two chefs. There was
the one with the white,
the hat, not the pan out. Yes, right? Yeah,
the white chef outfit.
Yeah,
she's cool. But that, like, those are the type of conversations, similar to what you were just talking about. Like, I like talking to interesting people who aren't just winning financially constantly. Like, it's cool if people make money. I've talked to people like that. I enjoy it, but diving into some of those deeper, like, niches of personalities, let's say, I've enjoyed. So I'm on hiatus for I don't know amount of time, but
that's how I am. My seasons of podcasts, same thing. It's been,
and I feel disappointed, but the good thing is it makes me want more from you. And I hope that I give that feeling to other people. I think I'll start it up probably at like the beginning of the year of 26 and do it again. I want to have kind of a consistent, like, okay, here's when I'm going to start doing this again. It just depends. I mean, there's so many people to talk to and so little people to talk to at the same time, if that makes sense. Like, people I want to really dive in, like, that I don't know you. And especially people who make a ton of content, it's sometimes hard to, especially if it's mainly edited videos and they just do pre-recorded stuff, it's a little bit easier because I can get that real person. Like Lee, talking to Lee live is always fun because people are like, wait, he sounds like that? It's like, yeah, he has a normal voice, guys. Like, it's not constantly, voice actor.
Yeah.
But if it's somebody who does a ton of live videos, that's sometimes hard because it's like, dude, you're live 20 hours a week. Like, what am I going to bring out of you that somebody else hasn't? So anyway, long rant. Kind of, yes, I'll occasionally jump on live with some people, but not as an official like podcast episode, probably.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, thanks again. Appreciate the time. Love the conversation. And everyone go follow Peek That Chew if you're still here after our long rants. But
send me anime Cels and send me stuff to buy.
Yes.
I will look at it, I promise.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Bye.